France 24's Philippe Tourel's been keeping an eye on this story for us. He joins me now for more. Philip, first of all, talk us through which ministers are concerned by this police search and what are the charges against them?
Well, it's quite an impressive list, Jeannie. You have the Health Minister, the actual Health Minister, Olivier Véran. You have the Director General of the Health Authority, Jérôme Solomon. You have the former French Prime Minister, Edouard Philippe, who was in office until the 3rd of July this year. He's been replaced by Jean Castex. You have the former Health Minister, Agnès Buzyn, who was in office until February this year. And you also have the former government spokesperson, Sibeth Ndiaye. They're all being investigated, as you said, into the way the government handled the start of the coronavirus pandemic. In a series of complaints, 90 complaints in all have been handed to the public prosecutor in France. He then passed those on to what is called the Court of Justice of the Republic. Now, the Court of Justice of the Republic is the only body which is able to investigate ministers in France, either who are still in office or who were previously in office. They went through all of those complaints and they singled out 9 of them, which they said could be heard. And it's those 9 complaints that are being investigated. And to get evidence to back up those complaints, they need to launch these raids today. Now, what they're looking for, all these investigators, are paperwork, phone call messages, emails that have been exchanged between the different ministers at the time to try to work out whether or not they had seized the importance of the pandemic and whether they took the necessary steps. You have to remember back in February and March this year, not many people knew anything about the coronavirus or how to fight against it. And there have been many complaints in France. The government was slow to react, that they didn't have enough masks ready to be handed out. The testing situation was slow and laborious, and it still is today. And the PPE, the special equipment that was needed by health workers, was short in supply. So all of that is being examined by these complaints. Now, it's going to be a long shot to get any of these ministers to actually appear in court, because what the court has got to decide is, did they knowingly ignore advice, or did they not know the advice and therefore were not able to make the decision? But if they are found guilty, and as I said, this is a very long shot, they could, under French legislation and under French law, face up to 3 years in jail and a €30,000 fine.
Philip, this news dropped not even 12 hours after President Macron presented the news to the French people that there would be a curfew starting this weekend. What kind of impact might this now have on government efforts to fight coronavirus?
Well, if you look at all the news channels here in France, the TV and radio 24-hour-a-day news channels, the domestic networks, they're talking about this raid on these ministerial offices and private residences today. What Emmanuel Macron announced last night has almost in some cases disappeared off the radar. And these are major announcements for France. 8 cities plus Paris have got a curfew starting on Saturday from 9 o'clock in the evening until 7 o'clock in the morning. And that's going to seriously upset a lot of people's lifestyles. So I think that the one thing that has happened today with this announcement of these investigations taking place is that the message that the president put forward last night has been a little bit swept under the carpet and put to one side. Now, there's going to be a press conference in a couple of hours' time by the Prime Minister to clarify the president's messages. So maybe that will put to bed a lot of concern by people about just exactly what they're going to have to do from Saturday once these curfews come into effect.
Philip, thanks for that. France 24's Philippe Tourel. Well, as we were just saying with Philip a moment